Whether your beer is in a bottle, can, or glass, kick back and relax. It's Better on Draft.
Hello and welcome to Better on Draft. Today we are here with the Michigan Beer Series number 56. We are talking to Steve of Hold My Beer fame. I'm going to say fame. You're famous in our court, anyway. My name is Rob, and with me, as usual, is Wendy. Wendy, what are you drinking?
Oh my goodness. Today I'm going with the Kunin Brewing Company's Divinator. It is their Doppelbock that we brewed with the Divas and Kunin to barrel age for our next anniversary.
That's awesome. Is that a mason jar that you were drinking that out of?
I went through a bunch of stuff and I found my Batch Brewing Company mason jar, which is
nice.
Like my favorite glass. And so I couldn't wait to drink out of it again.
Well, it seems like, personal brew stuff going into a mason jar. That just all fits.
I do have something to follow that up with, though. I found a 2025 Optimum triple IPA, so I'm going to go with that for the second beer.
Awesome. I am also double fisting it. I'm starting with the New Glarus Serendipity.
Oh, so good.
You may remember I was at Great Taste of the Midwest. Was that last week? Recently. And so I was in Wisconsin. I got to bring a bunch back. But I also have a growler of Maplewoods Cuppa. This is the neat Cuppa. I can't remember what the GD stands for now, but barrel aged stuff. George Dickel, 15-year-old bourbon barrels. So it was aged in that for 26 months, but it's their Cuppa series that I picked up last night. So excited to try that, but I'm letting it warm up a little. Also with us is Steve. Hey, Steve, what are you drinking?
Hey,
what do you got?
Well, since I had to edit my plans and come sit in the car, I figured probably having a beer in the car is probably not the best idea.
That's a good call.
I was drinking a English mild from Full Measure where I work down in Detroit. But since I had to come to the car, I figured I don't want to get in any sort of trouble for having open intox in the car. So
especially right outside of your place of business. Makes sense.
Yeah. I don't want to get fired or anything like that. So or a DUI or arrested or any of that. But at the end of the show, once we're winding down, I'll go in and grab a beer really quickly to toast you guys. But
I will say that English mild is one of the best English milds in the state.
Yeah. Did you come in this week and try it?
I have had it. Yes.
Yeah. I saw you. You were up here like 2 weeks ago, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I saw you.
I've been there a time or two already.
Yeah. I think I've seen you both times. Both times. If you've been more than twice, I haven't seen you all the times, but the 2 times I did see you, Wendy.
That's excellent. So, how long have you been there at Full Measure now?
We opened about 4.5 weeks ago, but I got hired on probably around the end of May, early June, and we've been coming down for training and things of that nature before we opened to the public on July 21st. So,
okay. Well, congratulations.
So I've been down here for about 3 months now, but we've only been open to the public for about 4 weeks now. So,
yeah, Bats McGee says hopefully he'll be there tomorrow. So if you're working, you can look for Bats.
Yeah, no, I'll be here. I'll be here right around 3:00 tomorrow, all the way until close. So anybody who wants to come out and see me, I'll be here all night tomorrow. Maybe here a little earlier, depending on how business goes. But the plan is 3 to close tomorrow. So
excellent, nice. And this is not your first brewery that you've worked at. So you obviously happy in the industry, happy with the jobs, and
yes, no, I've been doing it for going on 7.5 years now. So I used to work in a field where I made a lot of money, but hated my job and hated my life. So I decided to go work in a place where I was happy and took a significant pay cut. So
Yeah,
But
sometimes these are the decisions we have to make.
yes, it was well worth it. I've definitely enjoyed my 7.5 years in the beer industry a lot more than I enjoyed my time working on cell phone towers.
Well, speaking of time spent, I saw that you just celebrated 1 year of Hold My Beer.
Yeah. July 15th was the 1 year anniversary, so just a little over a month ago. Um, it's been really crazy, the amount of support and the amount of people that actually care about what I have to say. Like when I first started it, I figured I'd just be blabbing on to about 20 or 25 of my friends that were just going to support me because they're my friends, and then now I go places, and even just this week I was invited out to Top Hops Farms. It might be hard to see the logo on here, but Sean invited me out to tour the facility and check out a hop farm, which for all the times I've been in the beer industry, I've never actually been to a hop farm. I've seen them, I've driven past them, I've seen breweries that grow hops, but I had never actually been to a hop farm. So
I'm on
but
it.
but yeah, people recognize me, and sometimes I have no idea who they are, and they're just like, "Oh, you're the Hold My Beer guy," and some people buy me drinks. Some people, some of the owners of places will just be like, "Yeah, I follow you on social media," and it's just I can't believe the amount of support and the amount of people that actually care about what I have to say. It's crazy.
I have found myself reading your stuff more than once, sitting at a bar waiting for my friends to show up. It's just perfect for that sort of thing.
Well, I'm
So,
glad to hear
I
that.
appreciate it.
So.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask how's it going, but I think we've just heard how it's going. You're doing
Yeah.
quite well, getting recognized and being invited to do even more stuff. So it's going and growing.
Yeah, it keeps growing, and I if you ask me where I'm going to be a year from now, because of if you had asked me a year ago, I'd be shocked if I had 100 followers right now, or but I'm sitting at about 722 or something like that, I think, right now, and I couldn't have imagined that a year ago. It was just something I started doing for fun and talking about my travels and my experiences, and I couldn't believe it caught on the way it did. So
I got one more, and then we'll let Wendy have a go. But so you've been doing it for about a year. What have you noticed that's changed in the beer landscape, we've talked a little bit about your access that's changed, but what are some of the things that you're noticing changing?
well, we all have noticed that the industry is struggling at the moment, and that's putting it lightly. Between breweries closing. Luckily we're seeing breweries open still too, which is nice. Between Full Measure, Roar, and Six Spoke down here, we've had 3 open in Detroit in the last month alone. So, but they're the struggle that a lot of breweries are going through has become a lot more prominent over the last year than even when I first started. I knew it was an issue, but we're seeing a lot of places close, and there are places that have been around for a while too. Like, it's not just like, oh, a guy opened a brewery and 3 months later it's closing. It's Tecumseh, or they've been around for what, close to 10 years now or so, and they're gone. Blue Tractor up in Traverse, they're getting ready to close. We saw last year with Ascension, and some of the Way Post out in Fenville. It's just everybody's hurting, and it's hard to figure out exactly what you can do to stay in business, and or somehow I think a lot of breweries actually need to start working with each other. And I think there is a great sense of community in the brewing world, and there is a lot that work together. But I think there's also breweries that just want to do it on their own and just won't accept help. And I think that's a big problem at the moment, or won't promote. Like, I think we should all be promoting each other. We should be promoting not just like me at Full Measure. I shouldn't be promoting just Full Measure. I should be promoting, come down to Eastern Market, go to Eastern Market Brewing Company, go check out Lager House number 5, come see us at Full Measure, like I think that'll help the industry a lot in the long term if breweries cooperate with each other instead of trying to work against each other and seeing each other as competition. But like I said, there are a lot of breweries that, well, we all know how the beer world is, like it's very small, but it's very big, but it's very small at the same time. Like, everybody knows everybody, and just it's awesome. But I think the way the times are changing and everything, I think it's going to require adaptation and camaraderie to get through it.
So I was reading your article the other day about the top 10 breweries in Michigan, your top 10 breweries in Michigan. And I'm just wondering, did you get a lot of pushback on that?
It was just for the Metro Detroit area. It wasn't for Michigan specifically, because but no, I did get some pushback a little bit. Some people were like, "Oh, you didn't include Griffin Claw, or you didn't include Dragon Mead, or you didn't include Cunin," and it was hard enough to get it down to 10.
Right.
But I went with the places that I've been to all of them, and I repeatedly visit all of them. But I just went with the places that, to me, just the beer, reigns supreme at those 10 places that I put on that list. Like, they're all, you're going to get a fantastic beer at every single one of them. And even the 10 or so that I was debating between, like, you're still going to get a great beer at Griffin Claw. You're still going to get a great beer
Right.
at Dragon Mead or Cunin. Like, by no means am I saying don't visit these guys because I didn't put them on the list, but visit these guys because they're on the list, but I just think there's those 10 that I put on, like, I've never had a bad beer there. I've never, it's always clean. It's always fresh, and like, even the places that got cut, some of them, I've never had a bad beer there either, but there's just something that stood out from each place that I put on the list, like, whether it was, like, Stumblebum makes great, like Belgian style ales and stuff like that. Like, so I put them on the list. Or Faison, same thing, your European style lagers, and like, they do those things great, and I love those things. So they made the list. But it's just fun. Everybody has their own list. Everybody has their own, what places they think are great. And, like, it's the list was just to create discussion and, like, hear other people's opinions and stuff too. So it's not,
Absolutely.
it's not a right or wrong answer, just my personal opinion, so,
Right.
and I'm
Was
not
there
going to knock anybody for their opinion either. So
was there any particular brewery that you got a really strong reaction to that people really wished you had mentioned?
that I would have what? Sorry, I
That
coughed when you said that.
was there any reaction that you had gotten from people that you had gotten, like, a strong, "Hey, I really wish you would have mentioned that"? Was there anyone in particular?
No, not really. The only somewhat strong reaction I got was somebody I don't know who, but I did read a comment where they criticized the fact that I didn't include, like, ambiance or, some of the other factors into my ranking of the breweries, even though I specifically said, like,
It's your
this is
ranking.
based upon beer only, like, and somebody had mentioned, something about, like, well, if I sit next to some asshole at the bar and, like, I don't care how good the beer is, so I don't know how useful this list actually is. And I was just like, yeah, whatever, that's, I mean, to each their own, but
You can't control if an asshole sits next to him anyways.
yeah, I mean, most breweries anyways, like, how do you define somebody's an asshole? Like, when you can't just go, oh, you're being an asshole, I'm going to kick you out. No, they're paying money, and until they've gotten too drunk or, infringed upon somebody's, rights or space, then we can't really do anything about somebody being an obnoxious asshole at the bar, like just happens. I mean, alcohol sometimes brings out the asshole in some people, so
that's true. Well, I have to tell you, there's actually 4 breweries on this list that I have not been to.
Yeah,
it's embarrassing. With as much as I like to go out to breweries, so I got to get on my game, man.
Which 4?
Stumblebum. I was not able to go when we were on the show. They were on the show. Someday, Florian East, and Battle Alley.
Yeah, no, all great breweries run by awesome people. I think the only people that I don't know personally are the owners of Florian East. I think I've seen them when I've been there, but I don't know them personally. But Anthony over at Someday is making really good beer over there. I highly recommend going there. He messaged me through the article, and I straight up told him if this was a list of 3, you'd still probably be on it. Like, he's making really, really good beer over there. Stumblebum, Chris, Eli, all the Chris the brewer, Eli the owner, all very good people, and I know a couple of the bartenders there too. Molly from Supernatural works up there too now. So I've known her a long time because Supernatural used to be right around the corner from my house. Since I moved, I'm a little closer to Stumblebum than Supernatural at the moment, but they're all very good people. And then Dave Elliott out at Battle Alley, when I showed up, he was one of the guys that he kind of geeked out when I showed up at his brewery. Like, he was excited to see me, and he's like, I read everything you post. And, awesome. and then I was impressed that, he had 20 plus beers on tap, and not a single one of them was, off or, had anything wrong with it. And normally, you get that many beers on tap, 1 or 2 of them are going to usually not be the greatest, but I didn't have any complaints about anything I tried. So,
no,
that's awesome. So they're all on my short list of places to go here in the next few weeks.
Sorry, I'm trying to make the lighting a little better.
Your list is helping get other people out there, because I'm like, well, I haven't been to these ones. I definitely need to go there. I know I've heard a lot of good things about almost all of those, so I'm definitely going to go and check them out.
Yeah, no, it's been, I mean, they're all great. And, even the places that you have been on the list, you've been there. So, they're pretty damn good themselves too. So, but yeah, no, it's been great. The amount of recognition and the amount of people that appreciate what I do is outstanding. I could have never imagined it. So,
well, it helps that we have a lot of really good beer here in this state.
Yes, that does help a lot.
Yeah, the locals are there for the good beer too. Like, it's definitely a Michigan thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely, you don't have to go too far in this state to find a good beer. So
yeah.
So do you have any plans of taking Hold My Beer out of the state?
It could that could happen. once in a while I do write about, trips that I have taken out of state and everything. And, I mean, if say some state came to me and said, hey, we're trying to boost beer tourism, you want to come hit all the breweries in West Virginia or something, we'll pay you to do it. I'd probably go do it, like, why not? But yeah, no, I'm just, as of right now, I'm just thinking about keeping it as, as Michigan centric as possible. And, there's 400 plus breweries to write about it. I've got plenty of content to still write. So, and I mean, I've tried to branch out and do just, not just breweries, but other things. I talk to people, do interviews, so it keeps me pretty busy, between full-time job, writing, and all the other adulting I have to do between doing all that. It's, it gets, sometimes it even gets hard for me to keep up on how busy I can get doing all that at once.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah.
So, what is the brewery count you're at now?
What's that?
What's the brewery count you're at now?
471.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah. We just crossed Six Spoke off the list last night. My girlfriend got mad that I went to Roar without her a few weeks ago, and I caught a lot of hell for that. So I couldn't go to Six Spoke without her, even though I work, 4 minutes from Six Spoke. I had to wait until she could go with me too. So, which was awesome that we got to go together. But we went there last night, and then we went and had a nightcap at Batch after they closed, and it was a good visit. But yeah, in the last year, I've only visited 11 new places. It went from 460 to 471, but
It's been a little bit of a busy year, though.
yeah, it has been. And I mean, to be fair, too, not a lot has opened that, other than a few places on the other side of the state in the UP, and I just haven't quite made it to those yet. A couple of months ago, we went out and visited, or I went out and visited Off the Chain Brewstillery in Grand Haven. They were newer, and then went to Big Pines Brewing a couple of months back in Hillsdale, Michigan. And then there's a few, like, right after I had crossed them all off the list last year. It seemed like there was like 4 or 5 that opened within a couple of months of each other that I made it to, like Salt Rock up in Lansing, and Summerlands Brewing up in Lansing. And then like Florian East opened at that time, and so did Stumblebum. And there's one more that I'm forgetting in there that opened that I went to that's in the count. Not remembering it exactly off the top of my head. Give me a minute, maybe I'll remember it. But yeah, no, it's definitely a there's, like I said, there's probably only about 7 or 8 maybe throughout the state that I haven't been to. Anything that's opened up locally, I've basically been to at this point. Anything that opened in the Metro Detroit area, I've more or less been to at this point now. But the further away ones are going to require a trip, probably towards the end of the year, maybe the beginning of next year. To think I'm going to wait for a few more in the UP to open before I do that again too, because that's a far drive for just to go hit 2 of them.
Around here, we're seeing a lot of I'll say tap rooms opening. Like so, Sun King, for example, they've got their big production brewery downtown Indianapolis. They had a tap room in Broad Ripple. They have a tap room in Carmel or Fishers, somewhere up north. Taxman has 2 tap rooms around Indianapolis, and then their place south of Indianapolis. Is this a thing that happens in Michigan? Does a bigger brewery open tap rooms like across the city? And do you include them in the count?
I mean, the only example that I can really think of in the city here is like Elephant and Company, Eastern Market. They've opened they've opened the like 3 or 4 different tap rooms. You know, they got the one in Detroit. They've got the Eastern Market Brewing Company. Then they got the Elephant and Co. in Royal Oak. Then they got the one in Detroit where the old Founders used to be. But they're all. I think both of those are one of those places where you get like a wristband and then you pour your own beers too. You know, so.
Okay.
But they're 50 taps and
Which
well
can
they
be fun
say
if
50
you,
taps, but a lot of them are repeating.
they are. They are. I was going to say that too. And it's like that at every place that I go to like that. It's not just that particular one.
Yeah.
Those places are really fun for people who are not big beer fans because they get to try a lot of different things at not a really high cost. So even though it's not my favorite style of tap room to go to, I do see
Yeah.
where it's beneficial, especially for people who are just starting out on their beer journeys.
Yeah, no, I when I went to Elephant and Co. I went a couple of months back, and it was after a training day at Full Measure here, so I went down to check it out and see what it was all about. And I sat there and I poured a beer, and then I talked to the machine like it was a bartender just to mess with people. Like I just sat there and had a conversation with the machine. People were looking at me weird. But I'm just a quirky guy, so that kind of fits my style. So,
Well, I couldn't figure out how to make the machines work, so I ended up talking to everybody that worked there anyways. So I guess
yeah,
that's just how I roll.
yeah. No, I definitely do. I see where those places can be beneficial, but being somebody who works in the industry too, I think we should keep bartenders employed.
Right? Well,
Yes.
I'll tell you what, I was in Chicago and I went to one of those because it had 4 different breweries inside. So I could try beer from 4 different places at this one tap house.
Nice.
And I the first beer I went to get, somebody was pouring it before me, and they finished their pour and they walked away, and I started pouring mine and realized they never closed the tap all the way.
No.
So I was paying for their beer and mine.
Oh no.
Oh.
Yeah. So again, I got to talk to the staff that work there.
Yes.
So leave it to me to figure out a way to talk to people no matter where I am.
We have a tap room now in Broad Ripple. It's not a free pour like with the wristband stuff. But they do. It's 4 breweries have. I don't know if they've collaborated or if this tap room just gets their stuff, but it's 4 breweries on the taps, and it's just always those 4 breweries. Don't ask me to name them because I don't remember. I was only there for a little bit.
That's the way this one was too. Like they each had their own merch store and they each had their own setup. I mean, it was a cool idea. Again, I like talking to people as well. So
yeah. Well, this one had a bartender and all that, and they had a barbecue joint serves food in there. It's basically attached, so it was pretty cool. It was a nice location. Yeah.
So what is coming up next for you, Steve?
Well, I mean, we're like I said, it's been kind of a little bit of a crazy time between starting a new job recently. We decided to move, and so I've been busy doing a lot of adulting on the side at the moment, and setting up a house and cleaning it, and making it presentable. And so I haven't really had a whole lot of time to think about what's next at the moment. I've got a lot of content that I really need to just sit down and write. I have the notes, I have everything outlined. I just need to sit down and write it. The problem is finding time to do that at the moment between everything else that's going on. I know I'm going to start getting ready to find some brewers that want to be interviewed for the 12 Brewers of Christmas segment that I did last year. I plan on doing that again. That was successful beyond my wildest imagination. I had between the 12 days, I had over 100,000 views. and
That's
you know,
great.
like people really loved that segment. So I'm getting ready to do that again. Even with all the stress and everything that comes along with it, interviewing, writing an article, you know, trying to appease everyone that I write articles about, and you know, so it's a very stressful project, but it was definitely well received. So and a lot of people enjoyed it. So I'm planning on doing that again. I am gonna start it a little earlier this year though, to give myself a little bit more working time. Deciding, oh, I'm gonna do this, you know, like at the beginning of November, and having it together by, you know, December 13th was a little much. Last year I went out and interviewed 6 different brewers in one day. So we went to 6 different breweries. I interviewed 6 different brewers, and I think I did that day 3 weeks before the article started coming out. So I had to take those raw interviews and turn them into articles, and I had 3 weeks to do it basically. So while also working full time at the brewery, and you know, so it became all consuming, and I don't want that again. So I think I'm going to be hitting the trail a little earlier this year and doing the articles a little more leisurely, as opposed to putting myself under a really, really hard time crunching deadline. So that we have that to look forward to. Again, the 12 Brewers of Christmas will be coming back. And yeah, so that, and I mean, I'm gonna hit some more breweries the next chance I can, and we're gonna have some articles coming up about a few of the, you know, I think 467 was the last one I did an article about, and so we got 468, 469, 470, and 471. Those articles will be coming. They like I said, 468 was Off the Chain Brewstillery, and I went 3 months ago, so I haven't even had time to write that one yet, but they're coming. And then for 469, we may be doing something a little different, since it is full measure. I don't think I'm gonna toot my own horn in an article, so I think maybe a couple of weeks ago I let Crystal write an article for just to get some content out, because I didn't have time, and so we're kicking around the idea of maybe letting her write that article and, you know, do the review of the place I work at. So we may see some work from Crystal on the page here in a little bit. But yeah, so we got, and then, you know, I'm gonna start writing some more beer related articles, and not necessarily just beer or brewery, you know, stuff. So we're gonna have an article about Top Hops Farms coming soon too. You know, so I'm always looking for, you know, somebody to interview or somebody to, you know, chat with, that, you know, even they don't have to be brewers, they don't have to be, you know, they don't have to hell, I could just even talk to somebody at the bar, you know, that you know, just somebody who likes craft beer, you know, like, and I could write an article about them. It doesn't always just have to be like a brewer or a bartender, you know, or, you know, an owner. You know, it can be anybody in the craft beer world that wants to talk to me, and if I can chat with you enough to get an article about it, I can write an article about you.
And they're not that asshole at the bar.
Right.
Yeah. Well, even
I had an amazing conversation at the bar a couple weekends ago. I was in Grand Rapids and I stopped at Gray Line, and I started talking to the guy next to me, and I think he was questioning my beer knowledge when he first started out. But actually, I know he was, because he told me flat out. He's like, you know, I've been testing you. But it was an amazing conversation, and I stayed well over an hour longer than I planned on.
Yeah.
Just because we were talking about the beer industry, and he's from the west side, I'm from the east side, so we were talking about our favorites back and forth, and you never know who you're going to run into when you're sitting at the bar.
Well, that was like last year when I was doing the 12 Brewers of Christmas segment for the page. One of the brewers that I interviewed was a good friend of mine throughout the years, Tim DeGlopper. and he was the assistant manager over at Arbor at the time. He wasn't brewing at the time, but I interviewed him about his brewing experience and everything. The minute I turn the recording device off, all of a sudden he just starts talking about, beer history from Michigan. He is, 10, 15, maybe even 20 years older than me. So he was telling me about the beer scene in the 90s. And, before I was even old enough to, go to an R-rated movie by myself, let alone drink, and before I even knew what craft beer was, he's telling me about all these. And I'm like, he sat there and talked to me for an hour, and I'm like, we should have had the recording going during this conversation. I could have gotten, I could have gotten 10 articles out of this, like, but it's just funny how it works like that sometimes, like just, you can talk to, but yeah, I've gotten that too, where people will sit there and question what I know, or, they'll be like, oh, you haven't been to all those breweries. And I'm like, what would I gain from like just being like, oh yeah, I went to all these breweries, and if I didn't do it, why would I talk about it? Like it's it's just something that I've been doing for 20 years now, and I enjoy doing it. And it's I will never claim to be a beer expert. As a matter of fact, somebody, I've had people mislabel me as a beer expert. I am no beer expert. I may be a Michigan brewery expert. I'm traveling to Michigan breweries and such. I may know all of them. I may have been, I've been to most of them. I may know a lot about the scene, but I will never be a beer expert. Like I don't think anybody really ever becomes an expert. Like you can have a bunch of fancy degrees, certificates and degrees and everything. I think we're all still learning every day.
I'm an enthusiastic consumer. That's
yes.
That's how I label myself.
Right?
Yes. Nope. I'm just I'm just a beer geek that just loves beer, and I'm always learning. Like there's not a single day that doesn't go by that I don't learn something new about beer myself. Like, and I just never think I will ever be an expert on beer. I may be an expert on traveling to Michigan breweries and, knowing what cities they're in, and, but as far as like a beer expert, I've never liked that nomenclature. I even had one guy one time mention that I was like the Dave Portnoy of Michigan beer, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to be like that guy. Like,
I remember the old John Hodgman bits on The Daily Show, where he was just the resident expert on whatever the heck they were talking about. So I think the word gets thrown around like that pretty liberally.
Yep. But yeah, I just enjoy beer, and I enjoy the visiting breweries, the camaraderie, like everything about it is just, that's what appeals to me. Talking to the person that lives 8 hours away from me that I'm never going to see again, probably, about, some beer from Shorts that he had 7 years ago that he can't remember the name of. And,
but
it was the greatest
beer he ever had.
It was the greatest beer he ever had, but he can't remember the name of it. So then he's like, hey, do you know which beer it is? So then I'll have to sit there and research and try to figure it out for him. And sometimes we get to the answer, sometimes we don't, but we have a few pints while we do it. So
I just had a conversation with the local Shorts rep at Total Wine, because my wife's favorite Shorts beer was their mules when they were doing their mule beers. They were so good. And so I was asking him about them, and he had no knowledge of them. So I guess they don't do those anymore.
Well, yeah, no, I haven't seen those in a while, so that makes sense.
Yeah. It's a shame.
If I run into them, I'll grab them for you, but I don't know if they'll be any good at this point. Sometimes you can still find stuff on the shelf that you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve, are you a festival guy at all?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, because we have two of the best festivals in Michigan coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So I'm just wondering if you're going to either of them.
I don't think I'm going to any fest. I mean, I'll probably be at the Eastern Market Beer Festival as a representative of Full Measure, because we're planning on going, is what I've heard. So we're
Awesome.
planning on being there, and so I may be there for that. But I just think, you know, as a bartender, it is hard to get weekends off to go to these beer festivals. Like I have to pick and choose and go to maybe
Especially on a
like,
new job.
yeah, I have to pick and choose and go to maybe 1 or 2 a year to take time off to go. But like last year, I went to the Summer Beer Festival, but the brewery I was at was closed for renovations, so that was easy to go to the beer festival. The year before, we went up to the UP Beer Festival. The year before that, I went to the Great American Beer Festival, which is a lot of fun.
I read
If
those
you haven't
articles.
been out to Denver for the Great American Beer Festival, it's a really good time. But no, I know it's coming up, and I've always wanted to go to Burning Foot.
Yeah. Anybody listening right now, if you guys are at Burning Foot, please post pictures so that we can watch and live vicariously through you, because it is the one festival that I have never been able to make it to in Michigan that I want to go to so bad.
Yeah, no, it's the worst part about it is my grandpa lives like 5 minutes from there, so I would even have a place to stay. I wouldn't have to stay on the beach.
Yep.
I just need to get my ass out there and go, but I've heard nothing but great things about it. So maybe next year we'll get Burning Foot out of the way, but it sounds like a great time, and I really wish that, I just could go to every beer festival, but sadly can't.
Oh my gosh, that's a whole nother series.
Just to promote a couple more interesting beer festivals coming up. They might not be in Michigan. One's, I think, in Michigan City, Indiana. Hops and Coaster Drops is coming up. That one's at an amusement park. They shut it down. Well, no, they partially shut it down for the beer festival. Rides are open 4 or 5 hours. The beer festival goes on for a while. There's a concert at the end, but it's all in the amusement park. And then
Nice.
450 North has their Corn Maze beer festival in October. So they have vendors throughout the corn maze, and
I was just going to say
tents in the middle of the corn maze and vendors outside the corn maze. So there's lots of drinking, and then you get to do a corn maze, and then you have to find your way back. It sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, that also sounds like a recipe for disaster for some people too.
Do they give you a map? Because
yeah, I'm sure they have guides at the end of the thing, get the people out of there. But
I have a hard enough time in a corn maze without beer.
Yeah. No, sounds fun, but I also think that some people that could turn into a personal torture.
Yeah. Yeah,
especially if they're like claustrophobic or anything like that too. Have a few beers, then get lost in a corn maze.
Yes. I did one corn maze a number of years ago, and the map they used were the streets of the county. It was that much of a maze to get from one end to the other that it worked. Yeah. So it's been a year since you've been writing. Has that changed how you're taking notes?
Yes. I basically never go anywhere without my laptop now. It is actually surgically attached to me at this point, I believe. I had a weird procedure done, but but yeah, anywhere I go, I always have my laptop. Anytime I'm going to a bar, a brewery, anything alcohol related, my laptop is with me at all times now. Even I still can't even break myself of the habit of not bringing it to Full Measure with me, because I haven't done, like, I've been getting to work 5 minutes before I start my shift and leaving once I'm done, but I still always bring my laptop with me. I don't write it, I don't write at work or anything like I used to. And, I do my writing at home. I do, or at bars or breweries. Like, maybe on my way home tonight, I might stop somewhere like Urban Rest or something like that and have a beer and do some writing, or go hit a brewery and do some, or I'll just sit on my couch and maybe do some writing, or maybe I won't even write at all. Who knows? But but yeah, no, it's my laptop is always with me. I take the notes that I need. It makes it a lot easier on me too, because then I don't have to sit there and when I'm writing an article go, okay, did this place serve food? So then I got to go on their social media and find out like if they have a kitchen and if they serve food or if you can bring in outside food. And so when I do the articles, when I was doing articles on places I hadn't been to in a little while, it got to the point where I'm like, all right, now I got to find out what year they open. Now I got to find out, whether they have food or not. Well, do they have board games? Do they rent the private? Do they do rentals for private events? Like, what are their non-alcoholic options? So now when I go to places, I just grab a menu, I write all that down, and it makes it so much easier to than to having to go through and doom scroll Facebook or their comments section and do 2 hours of research before I could even write the article. So I remember the breweries themselves, but like whether they serve food, what kind of food, like whether they allowed kids, whether they allowed dogs, like I don't remember all that stuff. So I'd have to sit there and research all that before I wrote an article on places I hadn't been to in a year or two. So
you just brought something up that got my mind ticking. Have you noticed that more breweries that you're visiting have non-alcoholic or non-beer options?
Yes. I don't see as many NA beers from breweries that that the industry would make you believe at the moment that are out there. I know places like Athletic are making a killing brewing non-alcoholic beers. But as far as like locally, I can't remember the last time I went into a place that had an NA beer on tap. But a lot of places are doing like, if they have a liquor license, a lot of breweries are doing like mocktails and stuff like that, and like ginger beers and things of that nature, and like they're doing craft sodas, or I think we were at Batch. I don't think we were at Batch yesterday. We were at Batch yesterday, and they had like a whole line of craft sodas that they make there and stuff like that, and
Good.
I know a guy who used to work there, and he was in charge of that program, and so you see a lot of places doing stuff like that. So, but yeah, I don't think I've gone to too many places where there's a whole lot of NA beers on tap. You'll see one every now and then, once in a blue moon, but it's not as common as I think the media would lead you to believe it is at breweries at the moment. I do see places that'll offer, like, if they're a brew pub licensed or anything like that, they'll have, like cans of like non-alcoholic stuff that they can serve, like Athletic or, I don't know, St. Pauli's Girl. I don't think too many places are doing that, but they're they're yeah. But you see places, it is an option, but I don't see too many breweries where like they have one tap dedicated to a non-alcoholic brew that they actually make. But I saw it, I've seen it, but it's just not prevalent. So
the brewery nearby, unfortunately, they closed. Triton Brewing, they make their own root beer, and I loved going there because I could get a growler of beer for me, a growler of root beer for the kids.
Yes,
the kids love it. You get a growler of root beer. It's great.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been to quite a few places that do that. The only thing that I know that it's definitely not as profitable for the places to brew their own root beer when they're they want to have their brewer brewing beer as opposed to root beer these days. So I think a lot of places are either getting away from that or they're outsourcing their root beer these days. Getting it from Spreckers or, and then, calling it their own. But I don't think a lot of places are actually making their own these days, because if you can make root beer at $3 a pint, or you can make an IPA at $7 a pint, and you're paying a brewer, $25 an hour, to brew, you're probably going to want them to brew the stuff that you can sell for more, so.
There was that whole trend with Not Your Father's root beer for a while too, where we had I
used to work at a liquor store, and we sold that stuff, and oh my God, that was just a syrupy mess. Like, it was not, I did not like it. It was just tasted like syrup to me.
It was so sweet.
It was very sweet. It made good floats.
Yeah, I'd just rather have a regular root beer as opposed to a hard root beer.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of how I feel about lemonade too. Like, yeah, you can leave all those Mike's Hard Lemonades and all that stuff and Smirnoff Ices. Yeah, you can keep those. I'll just have a regular lemonade, please.
Yeah.
So this may be an unpopular opinion for some, but I also don't like shandies that are come pre-made.
No.
Yeah.
I would prefer I make my own shandy. Just give me a beer and I'll make it myself.
I have an even more unpopular opinion, and I just really don't like a whole lot of beer that has fruit in it. Like, fruit beer has never really been my thing. Like, I appreciate it for what it is, but you're never going to catch me drinking a full pint of like a fruit beer, like the closest you'll ever see me drinking is like a pint of Hefeweizen. And since, it has the banana and clove flavors, but yeah, like I've never really been a big fan of, and if I do have an Oberon, leave the orange out. I don't need the orange. But yeah,
I disagree with both of you.
Yeah, I'm not big on fruit beers, and that's just me.
Yeah. No, well, yeah, you're not saying they can't exist. You're just saying you're not getting one.
Yes, and I try them, and my girlfriend, she likes them, and we get them in flights, but I don't. Never going to be ordering a pint of a fruit beer usually, unless it's a really outstanding fruit beer.
I did just finish a Serendipity.
I never knew that I needed a fruited milkshake style sour beer ever until I think it was like during COVID when all those got really popular.
Yeah.
The sours that you pour it and it looks just like a milkshake and it's chunky. I never knew I needed that until it came out. And then I was like, oh, this is delicious. Doesn't taste like beer at all. I will give you that.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed every single one of them. Well, I can't say that, not every one of them, but
yeah. I mean, 450 North made their name.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's the great thing about beer too. What I don't like, somebody else loves. What I don't, what I absolutely love, somebody may absolutely loathe it. Like
Hey, that's gonna affect your top 10 list, isn't it?
I truly believe that there is a beer for everyone out there.
There is, and so people just need to find that beer, or keep looking for it. I still don't know if I've ever found the perfect beer, but I've had quite a few that are pretty damn close. So
I can list like 10 of them.
The quest for perfection is silly. It'll never happen.
It
better never happen.
Because once it happens, if it ever happens, we're all out of a job.
Right.
How do you answer the question, what's your favorite beer?
Oh, I couldn't even begin to answer that question. That's more of a, like, even if somebody asks me what my favorite style is, that's a hard enough question.
Right?
I mean, there's so many good beers out there. It really depends on like what you're looking for. Like some days I want a barrel aged stout. Some days I want a lager. Some days I want a, I want a, Irish red. I want, some days I want a Doppelbock, like it
exactly.
It really depends on what I'm feeling that day. And I mean, I'm an appreciator of all styles of beer. I will try everything basically. except for beers with coconut because of an allergy. But I will try basically everything, and I'm not going to make an opinion until I've tried it. Like I'm not going to just sit there and say, "Oh, I don't like it because I don't like X, Y, or Z." Like maybe, yeah, if somebody made an anchovy beer, I don't like anchovies, but I'd try it. I'd be
anchovy
open
hops.
minded about it, but I'm probably not going to like it. But I'd try it, but I'm not going to be like, no, I'm not going to try that. I don't like that. I mean,
So I need to
I didn't-
develop this coconut allergy. I hate coconut in pretty much everything. It's too much like suntan oil, like that awful old stuff. That's all I smell when I smell a coconut beer. So I need to develop this allergy.
oh yeah, no, well, I've because of the allergy, I am very good at picking up coconut in beers and smelling it and just being like, yep, that has coconut in it. As a matter of fact, the day that I went to the Elephant and Co., I just decided, I'm going to get a pint of this beer. So I just poured it, and then I took a big whiff and was like, I didn't read the description. That was probably my bad. But then I took a whiff. I'm like, because that's coconut in it. And then I read the description. I'm like, yep, it has coconut in it. Should have read the description. So
Yeah.
I had like a, $6.47 drain pour, because they charge by the ounce. So, so I just ended up pouring that down the drain, and that was my bad. But yeah, I think I got 2 beers there and spent $14 because I could only drink one of them.
Right.
I've been there. Simcoe is my allergy. I don't know if it's actually an allergy. It makes my tongue tingle.
Yeah.
So even if it's just a little bit in there, I can tell when it's in there, and it really makes my tongue tingle. I did just get a beer from Pontoon, though, that had Simcoe in it, and it hardly made my tongue tingle at all. So I was very impressed with that. It must have been been low on the grain bill, but
Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, no, I kind of realized that a few years back myself with Centennial hops. When I drink a beer that has Centennial in it, whether it's a minute amount or a huge amount, I just get these almost like migraines while I'm drinking it. Like light hurts my eyes, like it's just, and I never put 2 and 2 together because I used to drink Two Hearted, in my early 20s all the damn time. But then I was like, oh, maybe it's the place I went to, like maybe they didn't clean their draft lines and that's why I'm getting a headache. So then I tried it in bottles. I tried it in the bottles, then I was getting the headache. I tried it in cans. I was getting the headache still.
Yeah.
I went and tried Centennial IPA and was getting headaches still. But it's funny because like as I'm drinking it and while I'm drinking it, I'll have a headache. If I switch to a different beer, the headache goes away after about 5 or 6 minutes. It doesn't last very long. But as I'm drinking it, it just, I can tell when a beer has Centennial hops in it now because I start to get headaches, like right in here, right in the front of your head. And it's the craziest damn thing I've ever heard of. But I used to drink Two Hearted all the time, never had a problem. But yes, anything with Centennial hops in it nowadays, I just get these crippling headaches from. So
it's nice to know that I'm not the only one that has a weird affliction. But I learned that because I didn't like IPAs, and I was trying to teach myself why.
Yeah.
So I was trying to learn about the different hops that were in them, and that's how I realized it was the Simcoe ones that made me want to rip my tongue out.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, I still drink things with Centennial in it, but I don't, once I realize it's Centennial, I'm not about to finish it. Probably, I'll take a sip here, a sip there, try it. But I even like a flight size, like Centennial beer with Centennial in it is too much for me these days. But like I'll be like, oh, let me try the little sample, But
People
that's about
don't realize
it.
how dangerous our hobby is.
No. Or expensive.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that too.
They don't realize how expensive it is either.
It does get very expensive. but it's fun. It is fun, but yeah. I don't think too many people in our hobby line are going to be retiring on private islands or anything like that. We spent all of our fortune on beers and traveling.
Private islands don't have breweries anyway.
Yeah, who would want to be on a private island?
Mine would.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
If
yours
I
would
ever
have
had a private
it would
island,
have
you sure
a
as
brewery.
hell would be a brewery.
Would
A
you be
brewery or
happy
two.
with? Okay, yeah, it's got to be at least 2, right?
Well,
See, if
yeah, because how else you're going to brewery hop on your island?
Exactly. They got to compete.
Or if you just have like a private island, you just make it like the Willy Wonka version of like a brewery where everything's like drinkable instead of edible. And
That's
then it's
awesome.
just a very eccentric brewery, like where, just weird, crazy things happen. That'd be a good idea too.
Swim in the Lager River.
Yes. Yeah. Just don't get caught up in the yeast. You'll stink.
I don't know. Have either of you guys ever been to the Brewdog or to any of the places that have like the beer
baths
and stuff?
Yeah.
No, I've never done that. Seems like a gigantic waste of beer to me.
Right? I'm like,
if it's the stuff that they can't sell, I could see that. Like, it's better than pouring it down the drain. First,
but if they can't sell it, do you really want to sit in it?
I don't want to sit in it either way, honestly.
After you sit in a beer bath, don't you just have to take like a normal bath then too?
Right.
You're covered in sticky beer.
I want to smell like a drunk, but I don't want to get drunk. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm sure there's a reason for it, but whatever. Not for me.
Yeah, no, definitely not for me either. But to each their own. I've heard of a few places where they, like that'll have like taps in your room, like you can rent out, like a room, and there'll be like self-serve taps in your room. That's a place I'd go visit. But I don't know if I want to take a bath in beer. I've worked around enough brewers and I've seen enough batches explode and stuff that I've probably already taken a beer bath or two in my life. Changing a keg. Sometimes the coupler's not completely down all the way, and beer baths. So
yeah.
I don't necessarily want to go pay to do that.
My cousin used to work for Stroh's back in the day here in Detroit. And he has this joke that he tells about this one time a guy fell in the vat, and he's like, yeah, it was horrible. They had to pull him out 4 times or something like that because he kept going back in. I can't remember the joke. I wish I'm gonna have to message him and ask him to tell me so I can tell you guys what it actually was, because it makes me laugh every time.
Nice.
But it had to do with being in the vat of beer.
Steve, we have hit and exceeded the 1 hour mark, and obviously we could keep going forever, but I am going to call it anyway, and I'm going to start wrapping up by asking the final questions. And because I have sprung this on us, I will give Wendy time to think of a final question. But my final question, as it has been for the past few episodes, is what was the last board game or card game you played, and did you win?
I don't know. I guess I played poker last weekend, and when I was at a friend's birthday party, and we played poker for free, which really takes the integrity of the game down quite a bit.
Yeah, I know.
I lost to my friend's 13-year-old son at 2:30 in the morning. But I also was like, it was. We had a few beers, and I was over it. There was no money on the line, and I was like, I'm just going to try to bluff him off this pot. I'm not even going to look at my cards. I'm going all in, So I took it about as seriously as one would take a free game of poker.
Yes.
But yeah, that's the last card game I played. Board game, I don't know. My guess would probably be at one of the breweries, that I worked at. Somebody might have pulled out a game, and I played along with them on a slow night. And
yeah,
I know I know people used to ask me all the, they'll have like those trivia games at the bars, that like sitting on the bar and they'll be like, oh, if you could meet one celebrity, who would it be? Or, some of
Yeah.
them are a little raunchier, or, I used to participate in those, and people either really liked my answers or were really horrified by my answers. One of the two.
Hopefully the appropriate
Yes.
one.
Well, I mean, I'm a bartender for a living. I'm not, I cuss like a sailor, and some of my answers aren't PG.
Right.
All right. So my last question actually goes to both of you. What is your go-to summer beer right now?
Well, I mean, I've been drinking a lot of the Pilsner that we have on tap at Full Measure at the moment. That and the it's not really a summer beer, but the English mild that we have on cask at the moment is outstanding. But let me see, what do I have in my fridge at the moment? That I have Kolsch from Drafting Table in my fridge at the moment. I've been having a few of those lately, and I know this also is not a summer beer, but I do have a 6-pack of Widowmaker in my fridge at the moment, and I've been enjoying those. I think I got some Boss Tweed in the fridge too. But yeah, I'm always changing it up, really. Like I can't tell you the last time I consistently bought like the same beer, say for like 3 months straight. I was like, oh, this is what I'm drinking, and I'm gonna go get a 6-pack of that every night for the next 3 months. I've never been that kind of drinker. It's just one of those, oh, what haven't I had in a while? Oh, I'll grab a 6-pack of that. And most of the time I buy singles, but every now and then I'm just like, all right, I want a steady beer that I can just have and know what I'm getting in between all the crazy samplings that I'm doing. So yeah, those are just some of the things I have in the fridge right now. And like I said, most of them aren't even really summer beers. The Kolsch is probably the only one that's a summer beer.
What about you, Rob?
Well, so mine's a funny one because Taxman releases it usually in July. And it's the peach brandy exemption. So it's a Belgian triple aged in peach brandy barrels. And it is spectacular. It is, I cannot overemphasize how good it is. It's still not my favorite
save me
beer.
one of those, right?
I might have one, and it's not that I keep going back to buy more. It's more along the lines of, if I'm at a shop and they have it on the shelf, I will add it to my cart, at least 1 4-pack of it. And so I stock up on it in July. Before that, it was Grapefruit Jungle from Sun King. It's now called GFJ, and it's out all year long. So it's no longer, I guess, a summer beer, but it still has a summery summery place in my heart. So,
My beer.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Go.
Go ahead.
What's yours?
My beer this year is a Pigeon Hills Summer Spin. It is so stinking delicious. It's got all the fruity, the pitted fruits, and it's just so nice and light and refreshing, and I just love it. So I don't buy like a 6-pack every week, but every few weeks I'll pick up a 6-pack when I'm going to buy my singles for the week. So, and oddly enough, last year my summer beer was Pigeon Hills Beach Please, which is still a fantastic fucking beer.
Yeah.
Well, that's like
getting
Ken
to,
here is. Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, Ken's is the Yingling Flight, 2.6 carbs for 12-ounce cans.
Yeah, with him saying that in Yingling, if we ever got Allagash White here in Michigan, that would probably be my summer beer. Like I could crush the hell out of some Allagash White, but
yeah.
They laughed at me when we went to Chicago because I went to Binny's and I brought home 2 4-packs of Allagash White.
Yeah.
Because they're like, well, that's not a Chicago beer. I'm like, I can't get it in Michigan.
Right. It's also not a Michigan beer.
Can't get it in Ohio either. You got to drive to Pennsylvania or Illinois to get it. So,
yeah, such a shame. It was that and Harpoon UFO. Those were some of my favorite beers whenever I was on the East Coast. Those are my summer beers.
Oh, the Harpoon Flannel beer is my favorite.
Yeah.
Flannel something is my absolute favorite by them. It's so stinking delicious. It's just a red beer, but
Okay.
it's so good.
Yeah. Some of those just hit right.
Yes.
Yeah. But in Shandy's, my old summer was the Ruby Redbird from Shiner, which is I don't remember what kind of shandy it is now, but it's grapefruit. So it's really good. Great summer beer. Love it.
Nice.
But we can't get it anymore.
Well, that part sucks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that does it. We are going to start wrapping up. I will go through some things and then ask if Wendy has anything she wants to. Actually, I've got one for Wendy to expand on. So first off, I will be in Grand Rapids Labor Day weekend at Grand Con down at the DeVos Convention Center. I will be going to City Built. I will be going to, wow, I've totally lost it. The German one that is west of the DeVos Center. I love them so much too. I'm so sorry that
I'm like,
yes,
yeah.
yes. So I will be going out there for sure. And then who knows what else while I'm out there. September 5th, we have a show that is off our cycle a little bit. An extra show that we've been able to add in. We will be talking to Berkeley Alley Beers. Cooster is what Ken said in the chat. And that is absolutely correct. Or Coosterer or something like that. And so, but the Berkeley Alley Beer Company, they are a very recently women-owned Denver, Colorado brewery, and their front door is in an alley, and so we will get to talk to them for a while. September 12th, we have Derek of Unmapped and Base Camp. That's the one I hope Wendy can expand on a little bit.
They were a brewery that I went to when I was in Minneapolis to visit Paisley Park. And I was just really impressed with the beer selection that they had, the things they're doing in their community. They just made a really good impression. So I made sure I talked to them before I left.
Excellent. I am excited to talk to them because I don't remember if we've talked to a Minneapolis or Minnesota beer brewery since I've been on. So that'll be fun. That is all I have. Wendy, do you have anything to add to the upcoming things? What are you doing? Where will people find you?
I'm not really doing anything right now. I hurt my leg, so I'm staying home for a little while. But all of you people who are going to be at the Burning Foot and the UP Fall Beer Festival, I'm 100% serious. Spam us with your picks because we want to see it. We all wish that we could be there and have so much fun because I know the UP Fall Beer Festival is amazing, and I've heard amazing things about Burning Foot.
Steve, do you have anything coming up where people will find you or should find you?
Well, I mean, like I said, working full time down at Full Measure, so usually I'll be behind the bar bartending there. I can, since I moved away a little bit, I'm trying to figure out which place I want to make my day off place. I've been going around to quite a few in my area, so if you're in the Royal Oak, Oak Park, if you're out in that area, Warren, you're probably going to see me bouncing around at places like Hunan's, Dragon Mead, Stumblebum, Urban Rest, Dog and Pony Show. I was just at Dog and Pony Show last week. But yeah, and then for all the people that know me, I'll still probably be at One for All about once a month visiting with my buddy Joe, because me and Joe have been friends for quite a while. So you probably still catch me there once a month or so. But that used to be my hangout basically every Wednesday. Us bartenders need to decompress too and sit on the other side of somebody's bar and have a beer.
That's right.
So,
Seems
but
fair.
I mean, I'll just be out on the road hitting breweries just like always. Maybe not new ones. I'll be going back and visiting regulars that I've been to, like this week. Other than Six Spoke, when I went up to Top Hops Farms, I went to Homegrown and Gravel Capital up in Oxford. and then we went to Six Spoke last night and Batch, and yeah, I'm just always around at bars, breweries, just hanging out, talking with people, and drinking beer. So
That sounds like a great quest to me. Go find Steve at a bar. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be like Where's Waldo?
Right.
And if you catch me without a beer,
you need to have stickers made so that when people run into you, you can give them a sticker.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. No, I could do that. Yeah. That'd be fun.
As a matter of fact, we should do that with Better on Draft too.
That would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and we can also find Steve not in Meat Space, as they said back in the 1980s and 90s. I don't know if anybody ever says that anymore, but not in Meat Space. Steve is writing on Facebook. He is writing on betterondraft.com, which is, of course, where you can find this show and lots of information about beer, Michigan beer, beer outside of Michigan. But yes, betterondraft.com is the home for all things Better on Draft. So, Steve, thank you very much. It has been wonderful talking to you again. I'm glad we got to catch up. I'm glad you sounds like you're settling in to basically your new life, new home, new job.
Yeah. So. Well, thanks again for having me, guys. And I'd just like to apologize for the terrible lighting on me, but we had to pull it audible, and I had to do it in the car. And basically, I'm sitting right under a gigantic street light, so it's I got to keep leaning in to see my face, or going back and kind of look like Pennywise when he comes out of the sewer and comes forward. Hey,
sometimes there's tail lights lighting you too, so it's all good.
Yeah. But yeah, sorry, I couldn't hear anything, so we had to pull an audible, guys.
It all works.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and end the show like we end every show. Whatever you think of your beer, we think it's Better on Draft.
Cheers.
Have a good night.
Cheers. I don't have a beer still. I'm in the car.
Oh my gosh, go get